Hello friends, a very warm welcome to this episode of Gift Shop application series. In this episode we are going to create our order, but before that we are also going to add the addresses. Along with that we are going to fetch that, and we will do all this task in this particular video. So this video will help you to understand the CRUD operations for the addresses with authentication along with the insertion of the order. So without wasting any time, let's get started with today's video. Now previously you have already seen the authentication part, which we have already covered up properly. We have seen the side menu also in this series. If you're not following up the Gift Shop application series, make sure you check the videos. Links are there in the description and in the pinned comments too. Check it out and follow the series up till here. Then it's going to be pretty smooth right for you to understand each and everything which I'm explaining here. Okay. Now we are going to start off with the address part at first, because without the address we cannot add the order, right? We cannot create it. So in order to add the addresses, let's go to our cart page. So I'll go to the cart page HTML file, or in fact the TS file. Let's check it out what exactly we are doing, just to have a refresher of all the things which we have done so far. So get addresses, we are fetching the address from our address service. Let's go there, and in the address service I have some dummy data prepared up, so which I am sending it directly, which I can now remove it. All right, so let me just remove it. Okay, if I remove that up, then I might get an error here. That's fine. What I'll do is, let me return an empty array so that there won't be any error. Now I don't have any addresses here, correct? So in order to get the addresses, I need to do something. Okay, if I click on checkout now, it will redirect me to the add shipping address. If I fill up this form and hit on save and proceed to pay, so the address will be saved and I'll be proceeded to the payments page, which we haven't created yet. We are going to check that out too. Now what we have to do at first is fill up this form and submit it. At the submission, it's going to create it. So for creation, we need to prepare our backend at first. Let's go to our backend and prepare it up. What things we need here? We need a model for address. We need a controller too. Along with it, we also need the migration for the table, right? So let's create that quickly. I will open another terminal, okay, in this particular way, and php artisan make model, and then the model name, okay, -m for migration to be created along with it. So let's hit enter and create it up. Now these are created. Let's check it out. Okay, the spelling is wrong. I have to edit it actually. So let me edit it up, rename, and this is renamed. Let's check out the migration also in the database migrations. There you go. Let me rename this one too if there is any issue. Yes, there is one. I'll just rectify that here also. So be careful with the spellings, okay, here too. All right, now it's fine. Nowhere else I think I need to do anything. Great. So this is ready. Now I'll create a controller also. So php artisan make colon controller, then the controller name will be address controller. All right, dash dash resource. Let's create that also. Okay, now let me hit enter and it's going to create that. So let's check it out. We have the address controller also created. So all the basic things which we need, we already have that now into our project. Now quickly prepare our model and the migration one, what data we need to add here. Now the data that we need here is basically this particular data: the house number, address, landmark, city, state, country, pin code, save as, primary. Primary is basically for like which one is the primary address. That particular address will show up directly or will be selected directly for for the shipping as the shipping address. That's what it means. If it is one, that means that is a primary one. So rest of the addresses that we are going to have, we are not going to set it as primary. So that's what we are going to do here. Okay, so only one will be set as the primary one. That's the agenda of doing that. Latitude and longitude, I'm just skipping it up. If you want to pass the latitude and longitude, it's gonna be great. If you're not fetching that up, then also it's fine. You can take the other data and work with that. Save as well as a home address, any other work address or anything. You can just pass home, work, or anything else if you want to. So I've just kept it as mandatory field for the time being. You can remove it. We have already done into our front end. So just check this out. Save as is mandatory here. Primary we have already set. So all the data is already prepared. We don't need to look into a lot of things. Same thing only except one thing, which is the user ID. So we need to have here user ID. How will I have it? What I need to do is I'll create table. It's gonna be big integer because the ID is always big integer. The ID that is created by this particular function is also a big integer, which can take a bigger number. Okay, so big integer, then the ID name will be user ID, and the value, it will have an unsigned value, of course. Now one more thing, how we are going to link this particular one with the users table. That's what we have to do it here. Table. Now foreign key, I need to define it here. So I'll create a foreign key called user ID. Basically this is the foreign key. Don't worry, it's not going to create one more. It's the same stuff only. This is just used for linking this user ID with the users table. Okay, then I'm going to pass the references to the ID that is present in the on users table. This is how we do it. Okay, so at first I have defined this particular field. There is a field called user ID, and what it is for, basically it is the foreign key that we have here, which is a reference to the ID on the users table. That's what it means. I hope it's clear to you. This is how you define it. If you want some more, definitely you have to do it in this particular way only. So it will link it up. Now this is ready. Along with that, let's prepare the order one, or should we do it later? Let's do it later on. Now I can simply migrate it. So PHP artisan migrate, hit enter, and the remaining data that we haven't uploaded in the database will be uploaded. So this particular table which we have just created will be uploaded directly. Now let's check it out. Alright, as you can see here into the database, we have this particular one ready. Let's check this structure here. So this structure, just check this out, this key one. Okay, this means that this is the foreign key that we have here, which is unsigned like the normal ID that we have here, and the normal ID is of big int. We also have big int here. Now if you just scroll down, just check this out. Here a reference is created. Basically indexing is being done here for this particular foreign ID, for which is the user ID in our case. Okay, so this is what it means. Hope it's clear to you. Now we can simply work with the data that we have here. And how we are going to work with that? Well, we are going to go to the model at first, prepare everything here, the fillable ones. So these are the fillable properties that we can have. So I have passed all of it. Now let's jump to the address controller here and work with it. Now in the address controller, we are at first going to start with this store function, as this is used for creation, right? We have already seen so many times. Now we are going to create the data, but before creation we need to validate the data that we are going to get from the front end. So in order to validate it, I need to pass those fields which are mandatory fields. So let me just pass it quickly. So this is my fields. I have skipped the primary one because I don't want to pass it. It's gonna be passed automatically, otherwise it's going to be 0 or false. Okay, since that is a boolean value that we have here, right? Now after this is done, we are going to check whether the validation fails or not. If it fails, then I'm going to throw this particular error, and in fact I'm going to change it to JSON response in this particular way here, function. Okay, fine, that's gonna be okay. Or you can simply pass the response function also, like I have explained earlier also. So this is done. We have covered up the validation part. Now I'll get all the data within a property called, or variable called input. Any name you can pass here. Then I will need to get the user ID. So the authenticated user ID, I can directly get it. How will I get it? I have already explained you, but still let's do it. Auth colon user function and arrow mark ID. So that's how we are going to fetch a single property out of the function. Otherwise you can get whole lot of stuff like the email name, whatever you want, you can directly get it from this particular one. I just need the ID, that is why I'm doing it in this short way. Okay, now I need to import this also. So let me import few stuff here in the address controller. One will be auth, the address for the model one, and the validator one. Otherwise I'm going to feed the errors. Once that is done, I'm going to prepare this particular user ID within my input only. So I'll do it in this particular way: input, then within that the user ID, and I'm going to pass the user ID there. Okay, so that we have all the data in one place. Once that is ready, I need to check one more thing. If I get the primary data, okay, and if the value is 1 or true, then we need to set all the existing addresses to be false or 0. How do we do that up? Well, I'll keep a check here that if the value that I'm getting of the primary one, if it is true, okay, then I am going to update all records. You can pass true and false also if you want to, but I'm doing it in this particular way. So wherever the primary value is 1, I'm going to set it to update it to false. So this is how we can use the update function to update lots of records at once with the help of this query. Okay, once this is done, we are good to move ahead and proceed to the creation one. So for creating it up, I'm going to simply use the create function like we did earlier and create it. That's it. Now this is done, so we can simply return a response here. Response function, JSON data, which I'm going to prepare. All right, and let me prepare this particular data here where I'm going to pass success and data as always, which will hold our address. All right, so the creation is ready. We are going to check that up, but let's finish it up by the fetching one also, which is the index function that we are going to use. So let's create that up also, then we are going to go for the routes one. So let me quickly show you the index one directly, because I have already explained you many times. I'm going to get the authenticated user ID directly. The person that is authenticated here, we can directly fetch the user ID that I have already explained. After I get the user ID, I am going to simply search for those addresses which have this particular user ID and going to like return the response, okay, at the very end. So this response again, I'm going to change it, okay, in this particular way. So this is my response that I am going to send it to the front end. So simple, right? Now let me go to the routes one and to the api.php. Within the middleware itself, we are going to work with that. So in the middleware, let me work with addresses, and I'm going to simply use this resource only. So let me just pass it and change this to address controller. Okay, the name will be address. Fine, I just need to import it. So we are going to like import it from app http controllers. Within that we have the address controller. Fine, so this is ready. Now in fact, let me just show you one more thing. In the postman, if I am trying to get the gifts data directly, get gift, so this is the one. I need to pass JSON response to able to get the JSON response, and if I hit on the send button, I'll get unauthenticated error. Now here in the authorization, I still have some token, but this is the earlier token. I have already logged in with another token, so now the token is changed, so it is unauthenticated. And if I don't pass any token also, no auth, still I'm going to get the unauthenticated error, which means without authentication I cannot use this get gifts. Okay, that's what it means. So our authentication is properly, the middleware is properly working for us. It's not allowing any person to access this data without proper authentication, which is great for us. Now we can simply move ahead, right? For the creation one also, where I have passed it, okay, I have passed it here only. Well, this is fine. Let me do one thing. I'll just cut this and pass it here, and this one let me remove it. Okay, we don't need that, so I've removed that, and here let me pass gifts so that you can easily recognize what exactly we are doing. This is for the gifts, this is for the coupons, this is for the addresses, and what else do we have? This is for the user, right? So let me pass users. Okay, simple, great. So I think our routes are ready. It's time to try it up in our front end. So in the front end, in the address service, we need to prepare the data. how we are going to prepare the data. At first, let's go for the add address part, in which we will keep this same thing only. But what I'll do is, let's remove this part and let me comment all of it. Okay, now let's keep it a constant only for the time being. Constant addresses, where we're going to fetch the addresses. We are going to check if the length is 0, then we are going to set the address primary as true by default. Once we do that up, then I'll create a constant called result, which will be equals to await last value from, this is the one, import it, and within this function I'm going to pass this dot http, which we haven't used yet. So let me just inject it. So let me pass it here, inject function, let's import it, and http client also I have imported. Okay, so once that is imported, I can directly use it. This dot http dot post, it's gonna be of type any, and within that I'm going to pass the environment dot server URL. Then I'm going to append the route, which is the addresses one, address one, I think. Let's check it out. Address. All right, so address. And finally, after doing that, I need to pass the data, which will be the form data. Okay, so this will be the data that I have prepared so far. And once we get some result, let's check it out. If result question mark dot success that we will be sending from our front end backend, if it is equals to 1, then we are going to proceed ahead, and we'll do something of this kind only. So let me just remove it. Let's pass it here in this particular way. So let addresses equals to this particular one, I think, which we have already done it here. So why to do it twice, right? We can remove it from here and make it a variable once again. So the addresses that we are going to get here, we are going to like concatenate the result data that we are going to get from the after adding it up. All right, so we'll have the latest address also within that, and we are going to hit the next function and also return the data. That's how we are going to do. In the else condition, well, we haven't placed anything for the else condition here, because nothing we have here that we will encounter this kind of an error. It will directly go to the catch one, because it has an error here. Okay, then nowhere else we have this condition, so I can skip that condition. If you want, you can pass the else condition. Then let's prepare the get addresses one also. So try catch, within the catch, let's simply throw the error. All right, and in the try one, I will again call the HTTP request, and how it's going to be same as we did earlier. We are going to get the result from this particular one. If it is a success, then I'm going to simply hit the next function of this particular observable and pass the data that we are going to get. Also return the data. If there is nothing, then we are going to return null. The same we can do it here also. If there is no success, then we can return null. That's it. Everything is ready now. Get and add address functionality is ready. We can try it now. So I'll go to the checkout. In fact, you can select a coupon also if you want to. I've selected the coupon. It's of no use to us as of now. So let me pass a pin code here. Let me pass any pin code, any 6-digit number or even more if you have. Landmark is not mandatory, I can skip that, but let me pass it. Alright, so this is the data which I have prepared, and save as, let's say home, set as primary, but if I don't set also, it will be set as primary. So it's completely your choice whether you want this thing to be done or not. I want this thing to be done in this particular way, because I want at least one address to be set as mandatory by default, even if it is not like set here. Okay, so if I now save it, let's see what happens. I clicked on save, but I didn't get anything. Okay, where I'm having any error. All right, I think I got an error here, and the error says that the address model not found. All right, because in the address model this name I haven't changed, so this should be only 2D. I had 3Ds. Now I think it's gonna be fine. Let's try it once again. Let me hit on the save button, and this time we got the data, and let's check out in the database also whether this is inserted or not. There you go, it is inserted pretty nicely, right? So it is working for us as expected, and we are able to fetch. Okay, one more thing here, just look at it. We haven't set it primary, but it is taken as primary here, which is great for us. So this is working. Now if you want to click on the change one, we will be able to fetch this particular record here, which is working for us. Let me go to the design part at first. I think something is broken. Let me go to the card components and to the addresses one. In the addresses, this slot and is not working properly. Why? All right. Now for this radio button, it was not taking width properly. So if I pass max width of not max content, actually fit content, or in fact max content will also work. I think fit content is fine. So this particular fit content will help us to achieve the same result, which is great. So I think we need to pass this particular CSS into our code, otherwise it's not going to work. So there are few things in the latest version which you need to take care of, rest is fine. So let me go for ion radio and pass it up. Let's try it now. If I click on the change one, there you go, it's working. And what about the add address one? This one also is not working properly, right? So let's try it there also. In the add address, what I'll do is for this particular one, where it is ion toggle. So let me work with that ion toggle and pass this up there. Let's check it out whether it gets affected there or not. Yes, it is done. So make sure you pass this max width to fit content. So far this is a fix for this particular one. Now we are ready to go. Okay, great. Let's close all the files and work with all the things once again which are left. So we can select, we can add new addresses from here also. Let's try one. Alright, this is the data which I have prepared as of now, and if I set this one as primary, the other one will be disappeared from the primary list. Let's check it out. If I hit this up, and you see this becomes our primary one. Alright, and if I show you in the database, let's go to the database, and here if I just browse it, just check it out, this is changed to 0 and the latest one becomes our 1, which means the primary one. So this is working, the code is working properly for us, and if you want to change it, definitely you can select the other one also if you want to. Fine. So the address part is done. Now it's time to go for the next part, which is we are going to create another page for the payment one, and then we are going to save our addresses. Let's do that. Now for going to the payments page, we need to enter the cart page at first and work with this navigate to payout functionality which we have already created, you remember, right? So in this particular function, what am I going to do? I can here double check, which is not required that address is existing or not. If you want to double check, definitely you can pass. If there is no address that is present, okay, then you can simply return. But we are already checking it up here, so I don't think that's required to be done. So you can simply skip it. Okay. Now we need to prepare the data. So how we are going to prepare the data here? I'll create a variable called data of type, let's say any, which will be equals to an object in which, what am I going to pass? Well, I'm going to pass the grand total item, then total price, the total delivery charge, the taxations. Okay, so whatever we are using it up, we are going to pass all of it in this particular way. These are the mandatory fields that we will have. The items also directly pass it here. Along with that, the address is also mandatory, so we have to pass that. But how you want to save the address? I want to save it in a stringify format, which means as a string. So I'll just stringify the data that we get in the address. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. You can keep it directly also if you want to. Now after this is done, why have I selected it as a variable? Because we are going to modify that if we have some coupon, then we are going to add something else. If we have the taxes, then we are going to do something else. So if we have the selected coupon, then the data will be this particular one. Okay, we're going to add the discount and the coupon one also. And what about the taxes? Well, let's check it out. The taxes is a mandatory field or not to have. I think I've given it a conditional one, hopefully. If the model taxation is greater than 0. If there is tax in the model, then we are going to use it up. Otherwise, we are not going to use it up. Great. Okay, let's pass it in the same manner only. So if, or we can do one thing, whatever the value of the text is, I'm going to pass it up. So this dot model dot text or 0, that's what I'm going to do. So by default it's going to be a 0 value, otherwise it's going to take the value of the model text that we get in the model object. Okay, so I think it's clear now. Alright, nothing else we need to do, isn't it, in the data. So the data is prepared. Now we need to navigate to a different page which we are going to create, but let's first create the routing part here. So I'm going to use this dot router dot navigate. Where am I going to navigate? So at first the current URL I'm going to get with the help of this dot router dot URL. Then I'll pass a comma and I'll name the route as payment option. Okay, this is the page that we're going to create just now, but let's finish up the data at first, the routing part, and along with that we are going to send the whole order data that we have prepared here, right, within the data one. So how we are going to send it up? Well, in order to send this we need to use the navigation extras. So navigation data we need to prepare here, and for doing that up, let me create a constant called nav data, which will be of type navigation extras. Navigation extras, this is the one from @angular/router. Let's import it. So this is imported here, where it is, there you go, here it is imported. All right, after importing it's going to be equals to an object. So this particular nav data I'm going to pass it here. Okay, there you go. Now what do we need to have within this nav data, how we are going to prepare it? Let me just show you that part. At first we need to prepare the query params, because it's going to be present with the route, the above route that we have, the URL one. Okay, there we are going to send this data. So query params, within that I'm going to pass any name of the field or the key name. Basically we are going, let me pass data here, I'll call it data. Within that particular key data I'm going to hold all the value that we are going to pass it from here, and all of it will be in a stringify format. So json dot stringify, okay, not json pipe, json dot stringify. That's what we need to do in order to pass the navigation extras with the URL. We need to stringify it, otherwise it's not going to take it. And we are going to stringify this data, which is this particular one, and this value with this key name you can pass any name you want. Just remember we have to fetch it in that particular way only in the page where we are going to fetch it. I'm going to show you that part, don't need to worry, but remember these things, why it is being done. All right, so this is ready now, our navigation part is ready. Now let's create the page here. So Ionic G page. Now what's the route for the page, where exactly we need to create it? Within the pages folder, within the home folder, within the cart folder, I'm going to create the payment option. Okay, there you go, it is created here. Great. Now let's design it up quickly. So I'm going to quickly set this up. As the basic part I have already shown you many times. So the title I have changed, choose pay option, and I've given a back button which I'm just going to hover and it's going to get imported here. Okay, so I'm going to redirect to the cart page by default. Now for the ion content, what I'm going to have, let's clear everything first, and from the TS file also let's check it out what is available here. Common and forms module, I'll just remove it. Along with that, well, everything we need. Okay, all right, so in the latest versions this is the problem that is fixed. We have the proper imports in the standalone project. To the ion content I'll pass a color of light color, and within this we are going to work with an ion radio group. Ion radio group, okay, imported. Great. Within which I'm going to have an ion list, and we need to check the data, right? So what I'll do here, let me select a coupon and let me go to the checkout button. Okay, if I click that, nothing is happening here because I think the route is not defined properly. Let me check it out in the app.route.ts file. In the home one, what exactly do we have here? So in the home one, in the cart one, we do not have this payment one. So let me cut it from here and I'm going to pass it within the cart one. So I need to make children of it. Within the children, what I'll do, I'll have the empty path at first, in which I'm going to pass this component, right? We have seen this earlier, isn't it? And once that is ready, I'll create another path, or not need to create, I'm just going to paste it, and this is also prepared. So now we have the proper route here. If I go for it now, let's check it out. I'll select a coupon, this one coupon, I think it's fine. How many coupons do we have? Let's check it out. Okay, different coupons, fine. Check out, still it's not working. Let's check it out. What error do we get here? It is saying cannot match any route. Why? We are in the cart one. Alright, this is from the gifts one, we need there also, but let me do one thing. I'll copy it up, okay, and I'll go back to this home one. This is the one. Let me replace this one also. Now I think it's gonna be fine. So by directly, if you are going to the cart page, then we can go it from there also. Otherwise we can go from the gifts page also. So everything is fine, I think. Okay, let's try it once again. Now it's working. Okay, so remember where all you need to pass the routes properly, and if you think it is going to get complicated, then create another route file for like the cart page. If you want to create one, you can do that out. Okay, fine. Let's go ahead and work with the designing part here. So what I was doing is, let me go to that HTML first. So I was having the radio group because I'm going to have the radio button to select for COD or any other option for payment, which we are not going to tackle it up, but just for the design perspective we are going to do it. So iron list I have created. Now to this iron list, let me pass some margin also by default. Okay, because margins looks good, gives you lots of space, and I'll have full lines. Now within this iron list, I'm going to have the iron item where an iron label will be passed. Let me pass the color of it to be dark. We don't see anything as of now, just wait a sec. And let me pass pay via, let's say, razor pay or any other thing you can pass. When we see that, right, it's working for us. Now I'll have a p tag here in which I'm going to pass, you can go for credit, debit card and UPI, etc. Okay, and in the iron item on the slot end, I'm going to have a radio button. This is how we are going to do it. And for this radio group, I'm going to use ng model, and the name of it, name of the property I'm going to pass is pay. Will that be good? Or pay mode, that will be better. Now let's go to the TS file and work with that. So in the TS file, what am I going to do at first? At first, I'm going to pass the forms module. Okay, imported. Now once that is imported, what I'll do here is I'll create a property called pay mode. Along with that, we also need the order and currency too. So let me create few more. So currency, I'll get it from the strings dot currency, order of type any I'm passing, and pay mode of type string I'm passing it here. Okay, and this order, okay, fine. Now it's okay, great. So these three properties I have created so far, and to fix this up, well, what I'll do is, for the time being, let me go for the designing part and do it there. So I'll work with the iron item directly. In the iron item, let's go for iron label at first. So in the iron label and p tag, I'm going to change the font size and font weight. Along with that, some margin top. To p tag, I'm just going to pass. Now for the iron radio width should be, or max width should be, fit content. Okay, if I do that up, now it's taking it properly, which is great. Alright, now let's move ahead and work with the other things. I'm going to make a copy of it and have some more things, some more items basically. I'm copying it up and let me paste it 2 more times. Okay, so this is the first one that we have here. And for the second one, what am I going to do? Let me go for the Stripe where we have the credit and debit card, and here the value will be Stripe. Sorry, this is the area label. Value will be Stripe for the payment mode. And last but not the least is COD, which is cash on delivery. There we don't need any p tag, so I'll just remove it, and the value will be label COD, not E, and here COD. Okay, I think it's cool. Great. Now we need to separate this tree. If you want to, then you simply need to pass some margin top. That's gonna be fine in this too, and you're good to go. I think now it's more visible and space is appropriate. I think we are good to go, but I think we need some margin here also. So what we can do is, or it's not needed, let me keep it in this particular way. I think it's fine. Alright, so the design is ready. Now if I go for selection, this is working great. Now I need a button here to place the order, right? And in the URL, let me just show you one thing which I just missed out. See here, in the route we were passing the data, correct? So this is how the navigation extras is prepared for us. We are going to see how we are going to fetch it, don't need to worry. But at first let me create a button here for submission or to place the order. And to do that up, let me pass it in the footer here. I'll create a footer, iron footer. So in the footer, no border, iron no border, and a toolbar of color light to have the same color like the iron content. Then I'm creating a div where I'm giving some margin, and within that the iron button is being passed where the order will be placed on click of it, alright, which is of large size, and I'm using an iron text to pass the currency and the grand total which we are going to fetch from the order one. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. Now let me copy it up and I'm going to work with that. But before starting to work with that, let me go to the SCSS and do one thing which I might forget later on. For the text size, I'm going to define it for the iron button. Let's do it here. Iron button, iron text, font size of 1 rem will be good. Okay, let's fix this error so that we can see some value coming up. Okay, there you go. You can see the button is showing up. We just need to fetch the order data in order to get the values, right? So we are going to work with that in ng-on-init function. So in the ng-on-init, I need to work with the activated route basically. So let's inject that up. Private route equals to inject activated. This is the one, activated route. So it's imported from @angular/router. Okay, once that is done, you can directly use it up. Let me just show you. Constant data, that's going to be equals to this dot route dot snapshot of it dot query params. So you can use map also, but you have to subscribe to that. I'm going to use query params here. I don't need to subscribe to the value change of it, and you can just log the data if you want to. Okay, let's check it out. What value do we get here? Let me open it up and we are going to see the value. There you go. This is the value that is coming up in the data. So we have to fetch this data here where we have the stringify record of the order. Let's do that. So I'm going to check here if data, if condition is wrong, if data, within that I have another data property that we have passed from the nav data. If it exists, then only I'm going to work on it. Otherwise, I'm not going to do anything. Or you can navigate back also if you want to. So here at first I'm going to parse the data. So this is how I'm going to prepare the order. I'm going to parse the data from this particular one to get the original data out. Basically, I'm just removing this stringify one and getting the actual data. Now, if you don't have any data here, if there is no order, okay, you can navigate back using the nav controller. So let me inject that also. Private navctrl equals to inject nav controller, and it won't be done automatically. I have to pass it here where it is. This is the place where I need to pass it. Okay, now it's done. So you can navigate back here also. like in the else condition you can navigate back if you want to. Otherwise I'm going to set the this dot order equals to order and log the value of it. Now we can see the value here, what we get in the, this is the actual value that we get, this is the actual data that we get. Okay, so everything is ready to go. I'm going to just send this address directly as a stringify format, so I'm not going to parse the data here. If you want you can do that up. Alright, so everything is ready to go. What we need to do now, if I select anything and go to the place order functionality, I need it to work. And how will I get it to work? By doing some functionality here. So let's prepare it up. Let me make it a sync, and we will do most of the things within the try catch block only. Try catch. Now before try catch, let me check one more condition here. If there is no payment mode selected, means if you are not selecting any of the radio button, then what will happen? Then I'm going to use a toast message to show up that please select one. And how will I do that up? Let me show you the inline toast. So let me prepare a few properties here. One will be is toast message to show up the toast, okay, to activate it up. And the second one will hold some data of the toast, what exactly, like the message which we want to pass or something. Okay, so now when we are going to do this particular condition check, then what we need to do, I will set it to true is toast message, and this will be a model where I'll change the color and the message here and simply return it. It won't go ahead to work with the other functionality. Now what it's going to trigger, as of now we haven't done anything that it's going to trigger. Let's go to our HTML file and work with that in the ion content one. After this ion radio group, I'm going to prepare an ion toast. So this is how the ion toast will work, in which I'll have is open, by default it's set to false, then the message, color, all dynamic, duration 3 seconds, you can change animated to be true, position bottom, did dismiss on did dismiss, is toast message I am setting it to false. So it will be like dismiss automatically after 3 seconds and it will be turned to false. So that's what it's being done here. Hope it's clear to you. Alright, it's time to check it whether it works or not. I'm not selecting anything, and if I click here, just check this out, please select a payment option. So it's working for us. Now we can simply go ahead and work with the actual functionality of placing the order. Alright, first in the catch one, I'm going to log the data, not going to throw any error. If you want to, definitely you can by using this toast message only that there is some error. Let me just show you. Okay, in fact this particular one also needed error occurred, please try again. Okay, so I'm not showing up what's the error. You can just fetch it or you can just means you will have some error message here. If you get something, definitely you can pass it here, otherwise you can just check it here only in the logs. Okay, now in the try block, what am I going to do? Well, at first I need to prepare the data, right? So this will be my final data which I'm going to throw it into the backend. So the backend will catch and place it in the order one. Okay, that's how we are going to create the order. So the data which will have all the order data, along with that the payment mode will be integrated. The payment status I'm going to integrate. If it is COD, then the payment status is false, otherwise it's true. And the transaction ID, well, if you have any ID you can pass the transaction ID. If it is COD, then it's null, otherwise I'm just passing it as 1. If you have any actual transaction ID, I prefer to pass that up. Like if you're using Razorpay or Stripe, then you can pass it up. I have already created the tutorials for using Razorpay or Stripe into your Ionic application. You can check the videos, links are there in the description. Go and check that out. Once the data is prepared, what I'll do, I'm going to use another service here, which will be the order service, where I'm going to place the order. So this order service is not created as of now. I need to create it up. Okay, so let me create a service called order service, Ionic G service. Within this services folder, I'm going to create an order folder where I'll have the order service. That's how we are going to do it. This is the one, it's created. Fine. So in this particular service we are going to work with the place order function. Alright, that's how we are going to do it. And I'm going to call this service directly, inject it here into our payment option one. Private order service equals to inject order service. Okay, it's ready now. I don't think I'll get any error. Okay, one error is there because I need to get the data. So data of type any, let's say. Let's prepare this particular functionality first to get rid of the error, not in the constructor actually. Let me pass it here, data of type any, and within this place order, let's do everything within the try catch block here too. I'm going to throw the error if any within the catch block, and in the try block, let me get the result by calling the HTTP client, for which I need to inject it up. So let me call it here, HTTP client, and the inject function, import it, great. And in this result, I'm simply going to go for the last value from, and within that the post one directly. Alright, import all the stuff. Just I'm showing you directly few things because it's already been covered up many times, so I hope you understand it pretty well now. And you can give it here of type any if you think that there might be some problem. That's it. So we are going to get the result, and I'm going to throw the result there in the front end. That's what you are going to do. Let's finish it off now in the front end basically, because in the back end we haven't created anything so far for the order one. We are going to do it right now. Now in our payment option page, what we are going to do, if we get the response and if the success is equals to 1, okay, that's what we are going to do in our backend. What we have to do is we have to do certain tasks. We have to clear the cart at first. We have to pass a toast message that the order is placed successfully. Along with that, we are going to navigate to the home page. So let's do all of it, which is pretty simple actually. Here at first I'll use the cart service.cleared cart functionality, for which I need to get the cart service to be injected. Let's do it. Cart service, import it, cart service. Okay, then one more thing I need is router. So private router inject router. Okay, so all of them are ready. Let me explain you. So at first I'm clearing the cart, then I'm showing the toast message. Once the toast message is done, I'm using a set timeout so that it waits for a duration of, let's say, 1 second to navigate it to the home page. Otherwise we won't be able to see the toast message. That's what happens most of the time. And finally, once you get redirected, nothing else you need to do, the order is completed. Okay, that's what it means. And I'm going to replace the whole URL. So whatever we did earlier, it's going to be replaced. Fine. Okay, so this is ready. Now let's jump to the backend and work with that for the order one, for which I need to create the order model at first. So order model, let me hit enter and it will be created. Along with that, I need to create the controller for the order one also, order controller. And this one is also created. Let's first work with the migration part. We need to prepare the data here. But there is one thing which we need to take care of, that there is not only one order. Within the order, we have lots of items also. And to keep those items, there are certain ways we can keep it in the order one directly. By passing it as a stringify format or as an array, we can directly pass it up, but that's not the proper way. It's better to have a different table for that, right? That's going to be great to work with, and that is the reason I'm not going to have any items here. So what I'll do now is I'll create another model which I'm going to call order item, which will hold all our item data for the particular order. And controller is not needed because we are just going to create it, so we can do it directly into the order controller only. Okay, now let me prepare this to data for the table one. So in this particular order one, I'm going to have at first the user ID like we did earlier on for the address part. Then we have the grand total as a decimal one. Then the total item will be an integer. Then the total price will be decimal one. Total delivery charge will also be decimal one. Then discount will also be decimal. Okay. Then the coupon whatever you're passing is also is a string actually. Whatever coupon, which coupon you have applied, that's what it's going to have. Status is of type boolean. Payment status, payment mode is of type string, which we are going to have. Then the transaction ID is nullable and it's of type string. I've just given it. If you want something else, definitely you can. Then the address that we are going to get is a long one. That is why I've just given it as text. Now one thing is left here. What is that? I think the taxation one I have not given, right? So let's go for it. Let me have another decimal one for the tax. Okay. And by default, we are going to pass it up, but still by default, it's going to have a value of 0. Okay. Nice. Now it's going to be ready and you can pass it at the very end also. I think let's do it here. Okay. Tax. Fine. So this data is ready. We do not have anything for the items one. We are going to go for this particular order items to have our items for that particular order here. Now within this, I'm going to place the order ID also along with the item ID too. We are going to save the item ID, but let's say the item is changed or the name is changed or some value is changed. Let's say the price is changed. Then this data won't match. That is why we are keeping all the records. What was the price at the point at the time when the order is placed? So we need to keep a track of it. And that's why I'm going to prepare this data with order ID as the foreign key. Okay, then the item ID, which will be a reference to the gifts one. Then I'll have the name, the price, the quantity that we are going to have. I don't need the rating one, so I've removed it already. Then I can also save the image. If you don't want to save it, you can skip that up, but we are going to show the image in the front end. That is why I'm just skipping it up. The URL and then the final description also you can remove it if you don't want to like have it, because that's not necessary to have the description. So completely your choice. These two are completely your choice. The rest are very much needed, so I've kept it. Okay, so this way our data is ready. We can simply migrate it. PHP artisan migrate. You can have the table name also after writing it up to migrate only a specific table if you want to, but since we don't want that, I'm just migrating all the things which are not migrated earlier. So it's ready now. Both of them are migrated. You can simply check it here if you want to. Just check this out where it is. Order and order items, these are created. Okay, so once this is done, what we need to do next is to work with the model at first. There you go. This is the model which we need to work with. Now the fillable one, I want to pass it everywhere. Let's first do that up. There is something else also which I am going to show you. Don't need to worry. And in the order item one also, the fillable, I'll just pass it. Okay, so this is ready now. Once that is ready, what else I need to do here is I need to prepare the relationship between order and order item. Okay, which is very interesting actually. In fact, I'll do that within the user one also. So let's do it one by one. Let's first go to the order and create a relationship between the order and the order item. And that helps us in fetching the order item along with the order with the help of a with function, which we are going to use it in the eloquent one. I'm going to show you that part. So after the fillable is done, I'm going to create a public function called, let's say, order items, order underscore items, in which I'm going to return. You can name anything you want, but it's better to have similar to the data table name. It's better. Okay. Now order items return this dot has many function. I'm going to use it here, and it denotes that it has many order items. So one order ID is placed in many order item table. So yes, if we have multiple items in the order item data, then definitely there will be multiple the same order ID for each and every record that we are going to have. That is why we have the relationship as has many. So there are certain relation like belongs to. So a particular record belongs to whom. That's what we are going to see. Just wait. Okay. So has many, I hope you have understood. One to many relationship is that. Okay. So this is one to many relationship. Now in the order item. Okay. In the order item, what am I going to use? I'm going to pass the order here. Any name I am just passing, I have given it as order. You can pass orders also if you want to. And I'm saying that it belongs to this particular one. So it is also one-to-many relationship. If you want to like just look at it, let me go for Laravel relationship. Okay, eloquent relationships, one-to-one relationship where we have has one function. Then you have one-to-many relationship where you have has many. Along with that, I think you will have belongs to also. One-to-many is belongs to what I have used earlier. Yes, one-to-many has function has many, and one-to-many is the inverse one. Okay, means many to one, something of that kind. Belongs to. So in the order item we have lots of order ID, right? So this each and every order item belongs to a particular order ID. That's what it means. All right, and this is how you have to pass it. This is one way you can pass the class name, and I think you don't need to import it, but you can pass it in this particular way. But I am passing it the way that I have shown here. Both are correct. You can pass it in this particular way also, but I think this one is wrong. This should be app/models/order. Okay, let me just correct it everywhere. All right. Otherwise, you can pass it in this particular way also if you want to. In the has many also you can do the same. Let me just do it. I think let's get rid of this problem. Order item : class. Okay. Now I think it's fine. Or you can pass the model one like I showed. And you have to use this eloquent relation. Do we have it here? No, we haven't passed. So we can import it. I think without importing also it works, but it's better if you import it up. Okay, this is imported because they have passed a colon here to define the type of it. That's why it's being done. Otherwise it was not required. Let's do it in the same way only. Okay, so this is ready. Let's do it the same way for belongs to also. I'll just remove it and pass order : class. So what we are going to do here is, in the order item we have this order ID. That is why I'm passing it. By default also it's going to take order ID, but if you have a different name, say like ordered ID or something, then it's not going to detect automatically. You have to pass it here. That's how the rule works. And if you have another field name in the order one, if it is not normal ID, if it is a different one, then you can pass say like user_ID or something to match it up. That's how it can be done. Okay, so remember that how you can like change the field name also and pass it here. Now for the belongs to, what should I do? Let's copy it. Let's do it in this particular way only. I'll just paste it up and let me pass this colon for the typing one. So it's going to be a belongs to function. That's what it means. And this is how we are going to pass it. Everything is good to go now. Okay. So the relationship between order and order item is properly ready. We need to go for the other ones, like we will go for the user one here. Now for the user one, it is also having a has many relationship with the order one and the addresses one. So what we can do is, at the very bottom, let me pass two functions. One is for the order one, the other one is for the address one if you want to fetch it. And here let me directly pass address : class, and here I'm going to pass order : class. Okay, and this will be of type what type? Has many in both ones, so I need to import it. Let's go for this one and import it up like we did earlier. Copy and scroll to the top, paste it here. Okay, after doing that, I can simply pass here colon hash many, like it is done in this particular place. In both the functions we can do that up. Fine. Okay, this relationship is also ready. Along with that, you can do it in the address control, not in the address control, in the address model also. Same goes for the other ones too. So if you want to read more, you can definitely check this out. All right, let's move ahead and work with the other thing, which is the controller one. So order controller, we can directly jump into that right now. So what all imports we will be needing? We will be needing the auth, we will be needing the order item, model, the validator, current date, and last but not the least is the order model. Okay, once that is ready, let's go to the store function for creation and let's fetch our user ID at first in this particular way. Then we are going for the validation part. So whatever fields are necessary, we are going to check it for validation in this particular way, and finally going to throw an error if there is a failure in the validation. Okay, fine. This is how we are going to do it. Now grand total, total item, total price, and total delivery charge items of type array is required. Then the payment mode, and finally the address is required. Okay, payment status also you can take it, but I don't think that's required here. By default it's false, so we can just skip that. Well, in fact the taxation also we can skip that because it can be 0 also. Now let's prepare our final data that we need to enter, because we need to prepare the data for order item also differently and for the order one also. So this is the data that I'm going to enter into the order one, where we have all these fields. Along with that there will be one more field which is going for the taxation one. So tax, and we are going to get the tax here in this particular way. Okay, all right, so this data is ready now, and I think I have passed tax here also. Yes, I do. We need to be careful that everything is working properly. Okay, nothing else we need to do here. Then I'm going to check for the coupon. If the request has coupon data, then we are going to integrate this one also along with the data. So this is the data that we will be inserting into our order one now. So let's create the order. This is how we are going to create the order, by using the create function simply. So once the data is created, the order is created, we need to prepare the order items now. So let's get the order items from the request, and also we will be getting the order ID from this particular order variable. Right now what I'll do, I'll prepare the data by mapping it up. Okay, whatever we need we are going to map it using the array map function. I'm going to use it. Okay, this is how we use the array map function, where I'm going to return this particular object where we have the order ID created at, updated at, using the now function, carbon now. Directly we can use the now function also, and then the item ID, name, description, price, quantity, and cover. So all this data we are going to fetch it from the request, and whatever we need we have got it here. Okay, so from each and every item that we get there, so we are going to map each and every item and prepare our final record here, which will be inserted into the new array one, and from this particular items, that's how we do it. Hope it's clear. It's just a function that we need to use, and the pattern is already shown here. So the values that I need to take, that I need to insert in this, I can pass it here, and this is like getting one record at a time. Okay, any name you can pass, but this is important because this is the order ID that we are going to fetch. Alright, so mapping is done, the final data is ready. It's time to create it up, but we are having an array here, so we can insert it directly using the insert function, a multiple insertion one. So we have seen many times using the bulk insertion. We have seen similar way we are going to use the insert function here to insert all the order items. Okay, this is how we do it. Now after doing that, well, our order is placed successfully, we can simply return a response that the order is like inserted successfully, and you can do whatever you want to do next. So this is done. This is the order functionality that we are going to have. Now let's prepare for the fetching of the orders also. So fetching of the order is pretty simple. We are going to get the orders of particular user, right? If you don't want the user one, you can get it directly using this particular functionality, all the orders if you want as an admin. And here I'm using the with function. Let me just show you this part. Okay, so order will be equals to order colon. What we use normally, we use the get function, right? And if you want of a particular user, then what you can go for, let me get the user ID. will be equals to auth colon user function, and this is how we get the ID, right? Auth is already imported, so we get the ID. Let me just move it towards the bottom. Fine, let's change this functionality also. So normally this is how we get it, and if you want to pass a where clause, you can do that up where user ID, you can pass equals to also, but that's the default one, so we don't need to pass it. I can directly pass user underscore ID. This is a variable, so I'm going to get the user orders, okay, in this particular way. But if I want the order item also along with it, what I need to do, like I told you earlier, I am going to use a with function. Okay, so what with functions does, it's similar to a joining one. Okay, so it's going to get with order items. Okay, the relationship that we have created, we are going to use that up here. So within the order, this is the one that's the relationship between the two, and this is the function that I'm going to call there. Okay, in this where it is the order controller, and it's going to append the order items along with it. It's time to check it out, but we haven't created it so far. Let's create it, then we are going to do that. And this one I'm going to name it as data, like the way we have done it so far. So let's try it. First let's create the order, and then we are going to check it out. For creation, we have already set everything here, just we need to pass it. So I'll go for COD and go for payment one, but I want to check one more thing, whether there is any loader or not that is coming up for this particular button. If no, then I need to create one loader here. Okay, let's go for it. In the place order is loading, I need to create it, is loading any flag I have created which is equals to false by default. And once the order place button is clicked, when I'm entering it up, I want it to be this dot is loading to be set to true, and I'm going to change that up once the order is completed. Alright, after this is done, I'm going to do it here false, or we can do one thing here also because it's going to time out. I think it's fine if we do it here. Let's keep it in this particular way, and let me pass it here to is loading is set to false, and here it is set to true. Okay, so what we are exactly going to do with it, like we did earlier also for this button, I'm going to make a copy of it and paste it here, remove the click event and remove this iron text here, use an iron spinner. Okay, now the spinner I'm going to pass a name of crescent. You can pass circles also, and there are many different types of spinner that are available. You can check that out. And color will be light color. Okay, that's what I'm going to have, and I'm going to give a condition here that this particular one will occur at if not is loading, then this will occur, and in the else one I want the spinner to come up, right? So let me just place it within this condition and we are good to go. Okay, there we go. Now let's try it up. If I click on it, okay, select a payment mode, that's great. I've selected, please show me up. An error occurred. What's the error? Let's check it out. What the error is coming up. Okay, the error will definitely come up because we have not passed anything in the route. Biggest mistake which we have done. So let's fix it up. I'll go to the api.php and simply copy it, paste it once again for the orders one. Orders, this is going to be order and order controller. Just have the import also properly, order controller, and we are good to go. So now let's check out everything is ready. If I click on it, this time order placed successfully and we are good to go. So the order is placed. Let's check it out whether actually it is placed or not. So I'm going to go for it and go to the orders one. We have the order here, it's working, right? And the transaction, since we selected COD, so it's not taking that. We have the proper address also here. And what else do I need to check? I need to check the order item. I had only one item. It's time to try something else also. What I'll do is this time I'm going to add few more date records. One, and let me add perfume. Let's go there. I'll add the quantities, which is great, and some benefit I'm going to take it off it. Okay, the address, let me change it to home. Earlier also I think we changed it to home. Let me give it work this time. Go for checkout. This time if I go for Razorpay, it won't open up anything like I told you earlier, just for the design perspective which we have done. And if I go for it, it's going to place the order directly. And once the order is placed, let's check it again. We are getting redirected to the home page, which is great. If I check it here, okay, I have two more records of same order ID, right? Which is in fact great. We have all the records that are coming up here and I'm liking it. Everything is working as expected. And what we have in the orders one, we have two records which are coming up of the same user one. Payment status is done and transaction ID we get one which we have passed into the front end. Now what we need to do, we need to fetch the orders here, for which we need to design it up. So I'm going to make a simple design of the orders one. Let's do that, for which I need to prepare a route, and for routing I need to prepare a page for that, right? So let's create a page. So Ionic G page. Within the pages one, within the home, I'm going to have orders. Let's create it. Done. Now let's check it out. So within the home, I have now orders one also. But it's not required to be at home, right? So we can just have it outside of home also if you want to. But since we are going from the home one, definitely there can be a back button which we can have. So I think that would be good to work with. Alright, so let me go to app.route.ts file, and this orders one, let me pass it in the children of the home one. Okay, after this card one, let me pass it here. Okay, or let me pass it after the gift one also. At the very end we are going to do it. Fine. So this is done. About us and privacy policy, well, you can create some basic pages if you want to. I'll just show you a brief description about it, don't worry. Fine, so the route is ready. Now what I need to do is I need to go to the app.component.html, and what am I doing for it? Let's check it out. Alright, okay, let's go to the TS file here and check the routes that I'm passing here. So I'm passing directly the orders. Let me pass home/orders /home/orders. I think that would be great. So if I click on it, nothing will happen, I think, because we haven't done anything for the navigation one. Let's go for it. This .router.navigate by URL, and it's going to navigate to which one? To the URL one. Okay, let's pass page .url. Now we need to inject it up in order to work with that. So let's do it here. Private router equals to inject, and I'm going to pass the router here. Alright, so let's try it now. If I click on home, I am into the home one. If I click on orders, I am into the orders one. And the route that is being prepared here, just check this out, /home/orders, which is in fact great. You can work in this particular way. I'm happy with that. Okay, and for the privacy policy and everything also, you can do the same if you want to. Directly you want to pass, definitely you can, or from the orders one, or from the home one, if you want to redirect, then you can do that up too. I want to have a back button here, that is why I did that. Okay, if you don't want that, you can just remove it up. You can change it from the app.routes file by removing it from the home children and directly passing it up, and you don't need a home button. You can pass the menu one here also. Okay, so far so good. Now what am I going to do here is I need to work with this orders one. So a simple orders record which I am going to create. Let's do that up. Let me clear up everything at first, and I'm going to call it past orders. I need to have a back button also, and button slot to be start, where I'm going to have the iron back button. Default href will be /home here. Okay, There you go. So if I click here, I'll go to the home page. If I click here, I will get to the past order one, which is nice. Now let me create a simple design. So I'm going to work with the ion item here and ion label, in which I will not show any addresses one or something. I need to fetch the records at first, right? So in order to fetch the record, we need to do something. For fetching the record, let me just work here. Let me remove this common and forms module. We don't need that. Let's remove this one also. Now what am I going to do? Let me create a function get orders. All will be done within the try catch block. If you get any error, simply log the error if you have any, and you can show the toast message here for the error one, or whatever you want you can do it. For the timing, I'll just keep it as it is. It's completely your choice. Mostly I prefer to go for a toast message. Now here this dot order service, which I need to inject, order service dot get orders. I'm going to get all the orders of this particular user. Alright, I'm going to create a constant called response. So I'm just preparing the data here at first, and this order service private inject function where I'm going to pass the order service. Okay, this is how we are going to do it, and inject function also imported. Everything is ready to go. What error do we have here in the order service? Let's check it out. Do we have any function as such? Place order. I have not created any functionality for that. Let's do that. So what I'll do is I'll copy it up because it's going to be almost same, and paste it once again. Change it to get orders. I don't need any data in return. I'm just going to go for this order. It's going to be a gate one. Okay, and I don't need any data to be passed, so let me just do it in this particular way. Fine. Alright, whatever result I'll get, I'm just going to throw the result. That's it. And let's fetch it here. I'm just going to log the value of the response that I'm going to get here. You remember we used, okay, not E, it's response. Fine, let's try it. Okay, let me open it up. Have I passed it in the ng on init? No. Let me pass it in the ng on init, then only it's going to be called directly as soon as the page loads. So get orders, let's check it out now. What do we get? We get an error here. Okay, undefined variable orders. Please tell me where it is. Mostly in the order controller only. We have it here. This is the orders. This should be orders, not order. So just be careful with this silly mistakes. I'll just get back and go to the orders once again. Check it this time. What do we get? We get the data. There you go. Now in this data, just check this out. Okay, we get the address and all other stuff along with the order items. Okay, so we are getting the order items appended with the data because we are using the with function there, so it's joining this order items there. Okay, that's how it's working. And let's check it for the second one also. We are getting the two items that we entered it up while placing the order. We are able to fetch all of it pretty nicely. So it's working for us, right? Awesome, that's great. So this is how you can get all the stuff. I'm happy that I'm getting each and every record properly. Now it's time to prepare the design, finalize it, and work with that. So I'm just going to go for the looping one here. Let's loop it up at for item of items track $index. I'm tracking it by index. Don't worry, I'll get rid of these errors in few seconds. And how will I get rid of it? By going to the TS file and preparing a property here called items, not items, actually it should be orders of type any array, which will be equals to an empty array initially, that I'm going to get it from here. I think response.data. This dot orders will be equals to response question mark dot data. That's it. Now I'll be able to get the data in this particular way. This will be orders, and I'm going to fetch each order. All right, too many things we have done. So now we just need to prepare the data and we are good to go. So let me have here order ID. Okay, order question mark dot ID. That's how I'm going to get the order ID here. I can give a hash also, which looks fine. Then in the p tag, let me pass when it is created, right? So order question mark dot created at, and the date format will be MMD comma y. It's gonna be date. I need to use a date pipe here. Let's use it. Date pipe. Okay, I think it's gonna be fine. Let's check out in the main.ts file also. We have the decimal pipe. Let me pass the date pipe here. Well, it's not needed, I think, but still, let's do it, because I think if we don't do it here, still it's taken, right? So let's skip that. If it is not required, why should we give it, right? If I reload it up, still there is no error as such, so we can skip that. That's great. Okay, once that is done, what else we need to do in the orders one? We are going to show the items here now, for which let me create an ion row within the ion label, and I'm going to loop each and every column here. So for loop I'm going to apply in which item of order question mark dot order underscore items that I'm going to get, and it's going to be tracked by I, which is actually let I equals to dollar index to separate the IDs, because I'm tracking here also by the index. I don't want to track here this by the same index. That is why we are doing it in this particular way. This will hold the index of this particular one. Okay, and I'm actually tracking by index, but the variable is changed, right? Okay, I'll have another iron column here of size 12, in which what am I going to do? I will have at first item question mark dot name. Let's check it out. What do we get? We get the names. Okay, so names, then x. I'll pass the quantity also, item question mark dot quantity. That's gonna be fine, right? Great, we are getting the data. Then after getting this data, what I'll do is, we have got the order ID, the date on which the order is placed, the items that are placed in the order, then the total amount that we have paid, right? So let's get it within another row, or I can create another item. So in this particular one, I'll pass order total, and we can pass the currency here. So currency, I'm going to get it from the strings enum. Currency equals to strings, and from that I'll get the currency in this particular way. Once we get the currency, I'm going to pass here the order total, the grand total, not directly. How do we need to pass the grand total? Order question mark dot grand total. Okay, that's how we are going to do it, and I'm going to use the number pipe here. Number 0.2-2, and let me pass here the decimal pipe. Okay, so now I think we are good to go. Have I done anything wrong? Let me check it. Everything seems to be fine here. Oh, well, there is an error here. Alright, nothing was wrong. There was some interruption, so I just rerun it up and it's working fine for us. Okay, so no issue at all. And if you use a number pipe, still it's working fine. Don't worry about the design part. We are going to fix that up. So I think this is okay. Anything else we need to have here? Well, if you want, definitely you can show the billing details also, but I don't think it's necessary here. So let's fix it up now. An item, ion label. I'm doing everything within an ion label. Mostly I don't do that. You can use looping for a grid also, for a row also, you can do that up. Okay, font size, let's fix it to, let's say 1 rem. Okay, and p tag font size is 0.8 rem will be fine. Okay, after that we have iron row, in which what am I going to do? Well, at first, after the p tag I can have a border bottom of, well, let's say 1 pixel dashed, and the color will be black, or should I give any other color? Let's give it as light gray. That's gonna be fine, I think. Yeah, very light color. And some padding bottom also. Padding bottom, or directly I think I can pass it here. That's gonna be fine. So class padding bottom, iron padding bottom. Let's check it out. It's working great. I think a margin bottom will be fine. No, I need some padding actually. So let me just remove it and do it from here only. Padding bottom of, let's say, 1 rem. It's too much. 0.5 rem will be fine. Alright, and I can have some margin, or let's not do it there, I'll just pass it here. So margin, I am going to pass it here. Let's say 1 rem and 0.5 rem on left and right side, 0.5, and the top and bottom I think 1 rem will be fine. But if I do that up, I think it's fine, right? It's okay. I'm okay with this. Now for the, let me change something here. I'll pass a class to the column 1. Okay, so iron column I can use it directly here. For the iron column, font size for each and every one, let me pass it font size to be it should be smaller, so 0.85 rem will be good. Let's check it out. It's fine actually. I'm liking it, which is good. Then what else do we need? I'm going to work with the last one, which is this particular iron row. Which one I want the size to be a little different. So let me pass a class here of, let's say, total, and iron row total class, to which I'm going to pass the same font size or a little bit bigger. Let's check it out. I think 0.9 will be fine. Alright, I think it's fine. Total amount is this particular much, which is okay. But the design is not that great as of now, right? So instead of passing the order total here, if I pass it here, I think it would be better. So what I'll do is, let me remove it up, and instead of working with it within the iron label, let me move it outside of the iron label. Let me remove the order total here, change it to iron text. Okay, remove this class, not needed. And yeah, slot will be, if I give slot and, that won't work properly, so I don't want that also to happen. So how should we fix it? I think I should not loop iron item in that case. I should be looping, let's say, an iron grid here. That would be better. So in an iron grid, let me pass this whole stuff. Okay, and from there I'm going to remove this rows. So this particular row I'm going to remove it and pass it outside of this iron item. Now I think it's gonna be fine, right? And I don't want any lines here, so let me pass lines, or should we give some lines? I think that would be fine. Let's give the line. In fact, I'm going to remove the additional one which I did here. So let me remove it, the dashed one. Now I think it's fine. And this iron row, let me get it outside of the iron item. Now it's going to take the design. Great. So this is done. I think I'm happy with the design part now. Here just one thing, iron text, the font size, should I give it the same or not? 1 rem or different? I think font size should be 0.95 rem will be better instead of giving a lot more. Okay, and if you want to change the color, definitely you can do that up, but I'm going to keep it as it is. Fine. Okay, a few more stuff. Let's apply it. Color, I'm going to change it to light color background. All right, and between two orders I want some spacing, right? So how do I give that up? and instead of this iron list, well, iron list of no use here, isn't it? So if I want, I can remove it, but let's skip it. And what I can do is I can pass some margin if necessary, but I don't think I need to do that. Instead, for every grid, I can pass some margin bottom. Let's do that. What if I get it outside? Let's try it. So let me work with the iron grid here. In the iron grid, let me pass margin bottom of, let's say 2 rem, or in VH you can give let's say 2 VH solid, and the color will be light color. So variable dash dash iron color light color, I'm going to pass it here. Let's check it out. Well, it's not applied. Why? Because there is only one grid, right? So no, actually, all right, actually I've given margin bottom, it should be border bottom. What wrong am I doing today? Now it's fine, both of them are separated properly, which is in fact good. If you want this to be wrapped up, then you can do simply one thing. I think that would be better if you give some margin here, class iron margin. Okay, that's how you can give some margin, and it will be wrapped up in this particular way if you want to. But if you don't want, you can just have the normal design that was there earlier, and 2vh is fine. I think 2vh is a lot more. You can just reduce it if you want to. So I think I'm happy with the design part here. Just a few things you can do here is, let me go here and let me pass lines to be full here so that it can take the full size. Okay, there you go. And the next thing is, for this particular items, if you want some spacing there, definitely you can work with that. Have I given anything here? Well, some margin I have given, which is fine, but if you want more, what you can do is you can increase this margin by 1 rem on all sides. That would do. Instead you can remove it. Okay, well, that's how you can play around. I think it's fine. If you want to center it up, definitely you can work with that also. But I think I'm happy with this design part. Simple design, not much of a task to do. It has a little bit of information that you need to understand that stuff. I think it's good to go. All right, so this is it. This is ready now. What else do you need to work with? About us and privacy policy. Let me just show you briefly what we can do here is, let's close everything and let me create 2 pages here quickly within the home, not home, yeah, within the home only. I'm going to create one called about, and the other one will be privacy. Okay, these 2 pages I'm going to create within the home, but the route will be different. The route's going to be the one that is being given here, privacy, and the other one is the about. So that's gonna be our route, so we don't need to take care of the routing part. And let's check it out. If I go from here to about us, we are getting right into the about one, and let's fix it up quickly. I'm going to remove it, remove this one also, about us. All right, remove from the ts file also, which are not needed. So these 2 are not needed. Let's remove it. Why to keep unnecessary things, right? Okay, so this is ready. Similarly, the other one also will work with that, but I need to have the iron menu button here. So iron buttons slot to be start and iron menu button. Okay, it's not getting imported automatically, so let's do it from here. Iron menu button, we need to copy and paste it here also. Then it's going to be great to work with. Still I don't see anything here. Why is that so? I think it should work. Let's try passing the color. Let me check the routes first. There shouldn't be any problem here. These are the routes, which is perfectly fine. So I think we have given a condition, that is why this problem is coming up. What I'll do is I'll have a can match also in this particular place for both these routes. Now let's check it out. Yes, we do get it now. So basically what happens is we have given a condition, right, in the app.ts file, component.ts file. Basically you can see it here that if token exists, then only it's going to show up. So when we are going for this particular route, it is not checking for any authentication part. That is why it is not showing up here. Now it is working. So some things is very important to take care of. Well, we need that in the authentication part, because directly I don't want to show you without authentication, since it is available within the home page side menu. That's why I think it's fine. Let's work in this particular way only. Let me remove this color. I want a default color to be there. Okay. And within this, what I need to show, let's get it from ChatGPT. Now let me ask ChatGPT, give me an about us in HTML for a gift shop app. Let's see what it gives us. Okay, there you go. We are able to get the data. I'm simply going to copy it and pass it into our ion content here. Okay, so this is the data that it has given us. We can remove this about us here. I don't need that. Now within this container, well, what I'll do, I'll pass our class ion text justify. Let's check it now. Okay, and also I'll remove this container, and I'm going to pass some margin to this div. Great, working. So this is a basic information which you can provide. You can do whatever you want. This is the basic information that I got here. Styling also you can try as per your requirement, but I don't think I need to do it. Basic simple stuff is sometimes pretty good to work with. Okay, now this is done. I'll go for the privacy one, and in the privacy also I'll perform in the similar way. Let me just copy it, and let's go to privacy one, paste it, change this to privacy policy. Okay, and import the stuff that is necessary for us to work with. Similarly, I'm going to change here also. Let me remove it up. So I've removed it from here. Along with that, I have removed it from here too. Okay, once that is removed, what else do we need? We need to pass here ion menu button. Okay, so copy it up and pass it here also. All right, okay, this is done. So in the privacy policy also, as of now we have the same stuff, but I'm going to change it up. What I'll do is I'll get back to ChatGPT and ask the same question. Give me the privacy policy for a gift shop app in HTML format. Okay, so for some things you can definitely take the help of like ChatGPT to make your life easier. Since this is a dummy data that I'm preparing, so I'm using it up. Otherwise I would have prepared it on my own. Let's copy this div, or div is not required, we already have the div. Let me copy these two things. Let's get back and replace it up. All right, fine, it is now replaced. Let's format it. Let me format the document so that we can check it easily how it looks like. All right, there is an error here. Okay, so sometimes if you're passing @ it's going to give you some problems, so just wrap it up within this braces and you're good to go. Check this out now. I think it's good to work with, right? It looks pretty good. You don't need to perform anything here. I think it's pretty lovely. But if you definitely want to do, then you can simply pass these things. Let's try it. Okay, I'll copy it up and let me pass the container class here. All right, and in the SCSS file I'm going to pass this thing. Let's check it out. Okay, this particular container is having a title which I don't need, so I can remove it up because it's already given at the top. And there is a box shadow, I think, which is appearing at the top most probably. All right, it's gone now. And where is this border radius working? I don't need that also. I think margin I have already given, so I don't need to work with the margin now. Okay, max width also I don't need, and padding also I don't need. So I don't need anything actually from this particular container. And alignment is already being done for h2 margin top. Where is h2? This is the h2 margin top. You can simply work with this margin top, otherwise you can skip that up. So the rest of the things I don't need it. In fact, this one also I don't need. I can do one thing instead of passing it here. Okay, that was okay. Let's have this h2 except that I don't need anything else. Okay, so this is our privacy policy which is being prepared, so you can work with it or you can make changes here. Fine. Simple privacy policy about us, and rest you can just skip it as it is. So we have just prepared the whole application, basic application, I would say. To some extent it's more than the basic one. So that's it. We have come to the end of this video and we have executed lots of things. So with this, I'm going to wrap up this video for the day. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section how you are liking this series. Also, do share with your friends. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe it. Do check out the courses if you want to learn more. Do check out the templates if you want some quick templates to integrate in your application, and there is a food delivery application complete platform also available. Links are there in the description. Check that out and let me know if you need anything more. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'm going to see you in the next one.